Welcome to the next lesson, using Facebook ads to get subscribers. In this lesson, we're going to cover setting up your Facebook advertising account, Facebook audience targeting, creating your first advertising campaign, and connecting your competition advert to ManyChat to trigger your competition flow. So when it comes to setting up your Facebook account, you will need a personal Facebook account, a credit card to pay for your advertising, and your business information. So let's go over to business.facebook.com to set up our business manager and Facebook advertising account. Okay, so I've loaded business.facebook.com and I'm going to click create an account. From here, I'm going to log in with my Facebook account credentials and then click create account. Your business and account name should be your registered business entity name. If you don't have a registered business entity yet, just use your own name, your personal name, and your business email address. Then click next. You want to enter your business registered address. You then need to enter your business's registered trading address. This may be your, again, if you don't have a business, then just use your personal home address. Under your website, you're going to enter the domain name for your new brand website. And in terms of business use, you're going to use promote its own goods or services and click submit. Facebook will then confirm that your business manager account has been created and ask you to go and confirm your email address. Click the link in the email to confirm your account. From here, you want to click add account and click create ad account. Give the account a name. I recommend using your brand name and set your preferred currency. This will likely be your local currency. This ad account will be used for my business and click create. And then you need to add yourself to the ad account. So select your name on the left-hand side and then click manage ad account under admin access. That should enable the other two options and click assign. Facebook will then tell you that the new advertising account has been created and added to your business manager. Click close. The next thing we want to do is click add page. Add a page that you own and search for the name of your brand's Facebook page. In this instance, Verve Kitchen. Facebook will then state a request has been sent asking the people who manage Verve Kitchen to approve your request. At this point, if you log into your Facebook account, you should see a notification for you to approve that request. So I'm on my page settings, page roles, and as you can see, the account I'm using for this demonstration has requested ownership. So I'm going to respond to request and click transfer ownership of my page and approve that request. And what that's doing is transferring the page from your personal Facebook account into your business manager on Facebook. You may not always see this. It may just add your page to your business manager. But if it does request for the business manager to take ownership of your page, that is perfectly normal and you should approve that request. So now we've created a new advertising account and we've connected our page for advertising. The next thing we want to do is look at business settings. Inside of business settings, if I go to ad accounts, we will see our new Verve Kitchen ad account. And the last thing I need to do is add a payment source so that I can start advertising on Facebook. To do this, I'm going to click the drop-down menu next to Open in Ads Manager and click View Payment Methods. From here, I'm going to click Add Payment Method. And I'm going to enter my credit card information to pay for my Facebook advertising. And now you can see Facebook has confirmed your payment method has been successfully added. And you can see that my Visa card is the primary payment method on my Verve Kitchen advertising account. Now you may already have a Facebook advertising account and that's fine, you can use that. But this is how to set up a new business manager and new Facebook advertising account for your new brand on Facebook. So now we have our new Facebook advertising account and our payment method connected. Before we can start advertising, we have to decide who we want to advertise to. To do that, we create audiences on Facebook. And before we can do that, we need to research the type of audiences that we want to create. Facebook has a very powerful tool called the Audience Insight tool. You can access that by going to Settings, Analyze and Report, Audience Insights. Select everyone on Facebook. And what this tool will do is allow you to analyze the data points that Facebook holds on its users for target countries and interests that users have shown interest in via liking Facebook pages, the content they're posting, the groups they're a part of, and many more data points that Facebook holds. So on the left-hand side, the first thing I'm going to do is set my country to United States, as that's where I intend on selling my product. If you intend on selling your product on any of the other Amazon marketplaces, maybe UK or Germany, then you'll want to change the country to that target location. So as you can see, with the United States set as my target location, Facebook has 150 to 200 million people with data held. 56% of that audience are women, 45% are men, and you can see the biggest age demographic of this audience, everyone in the United States between 18 and 65, is 25 to 34, which makes up 23% of the audience. 35 to 44 is 19% of the audience, and so on. As you develop out your brand and build out your Facebook advertising campaigns, audience targeting will become a lot easier, as you will have a lot more data to inform your decisions. When starting out, it's very important to have a good idea who your customer is and understand things about them, such as where they're shopping, brands they're buying, similar brands they're interested in, the type of entertainment they might enjoy, their age, or even sex if your brand is targeting specifically men or specifically females. You need to gather as much data as possible when starting out with advertising to set you up for success and speed up the learning curve on what audiences are going to work for your brand. So when I think of my customer for Verve Kitchen, I think of a man or a woman, probably in a relationship. They're inviting friends over, sharing dinners together. It's a very social brand. So I'm going to go ahead and set my age range to 25 to 45, as that's the age range that I see my customer being in. If your brand is in a more specific niche like cycling or boxing, maybe it's in a specific type of fitness like CrossFit, then audience targeting becomes much easier, as you can target well-known brands within that space and get in front of the right customer. Let's say your customer was a fan of UFC, then Joe Rogan would be a really good audience to put your product in front of. But as this brand is a lot broader, it's a lot more generic, it's a kitchen brand targeting millennials, it's about creating a social environment within the home, targeting can be a little bit more difficult up front. When I think of the type of brands that my customer is connecting with, the types of shops they're going to buy their products, I think of places like Sur La Table maybe, Crate and Barrel, Pottery Barn, OXO, Trader Joe's. They may be shopping at Trader Joe's. And then I get a bit broader and think, well, in a family environment, they're probably shopping at Target. That's probably a bit too broad. If they do have a family environment, they're going to be buying their kids' clothes. Gap might be of interest. Through my research, IKEA, if I think about my customer, I see them shopping at IKEA and buying IKEA furniture for their home. And if they like Mexican food, they probably enjoy Chipotle. So you want to start writing down all of the ideas for brands, shops, restaurants that your customer is connecting with, that you can use to inform your targeting when starting out with Facebook advertising. So if I come back over to the Audience Insights tool, I have the tool set to the United States, 25 to 45, both men and women. I'm then going to come down and set my language to English. That's because I have a taco holder, so I run the risk of getting in front of only Spanish-speaking people, and my brand's going to be communicated in English. Definitely want to ensure that I'm getting in front of English-speaking people. So with that set, I'm then going to start layering on interests. So I'm going to start broad and enter Mexican cuisine. And Facebook will update the data. Now, interestingly, between the age of 25 and 45, men and women living in the United States who are interested in Mexican cuisine and speak English, 62% are women. And you can see almost half of my audience are married, and 64% are educated to a university level. That indicates the level of language that we can use within our brand. If I then click over to page likes, Facebook's going to tell me the different types of categories that it believes this audience are interested in based on the configuration of interests and demographic data that you've entered. We can see that Patron Tequila, which makes sense, is a favoured spirit. We can see under clothing brands that H&M, Nordstrom, these are definitely brands that I see my customer shopping for. IKEA, I can definitely see my customer buying furniture at IKEA for their home, maybe for their apartment if they're a younger couple. Chipotle, so we definitely got that assumption right. In terms of a restaurant that our customer buys food from. And then if we scroll down, we'll see a list of pages. And Facebook believes that the audience of these pages are likely to engage with our content based on the demographic and interests that we've entered. There's an important number here called the affinity score. The higher this number, the more Facebook believes that the audience of that page is likely to engage with our content based on the interests and demographic data entered. So Facebook believes that the audience of Patron Tequila is 45 times more likely to engage with us than the average Facebook user based on the interests and the demographic data we have entered into the Audience Insights tool. So as I scroll down this list, I'm looking for things that jump out at me based on what I assume and know about my customer. So H&M, Chipotle, IKEA, Budweiser. I can see my customer enjoying Budweiser, sharing it with friends over a meal. Patron Tequila is an obvious choice. And as I come down, I will start looking through these. So I can see it. Ooh, I've never heard of this one, but I'm going to go ahead and open this in a new tab by clicking on the link. And I want to take a look at what the page is. So good indication that the page has commercial intent, meaning it's a brand that customers are buying products from. We don't want just any subscribers. We want subscribers that are likely to engage and buy our products. So commercial pages are really good, providing we believe that their audience is the right audience for us. So I could definitely see this page working. It's got good amounts of engagement on their posts, a sizable following, and I could see the mum or the dad that's buying this clothing for their child, engaging with our brand on Facebook and entering our competition to win our ultimate taco set. So whilst that's not a brand that I would have thought of, it's definitely one that I could test within my targeting, as Facebook believes, based on our Mexican cuisine interest entry, our demographic data, that people who like that page are 41 times more likely to engage with our content than the average Facebook user. If I then start layering in some of my known audience interests, maybe Trader Joe's, and keep that on top of Mexican cuisine, interestingly, Facebook brings up Aldi as a supermarket that it believes our audience would be interested in on Facebook. Patron Tequila is definitely still showing up high. That brand is still showing high. And as I come down, I can see again, H&M, IKEA. This all recipes seems to be standing out. And you can see they're still high in the affinity score. Chipotle, Target, we talked about Target. Old Navy came up originally. So the idea here is to spend some time looking through the data, plugging in different interests to understand the types of audiences that you want to get in front of with your competition advert on Facebook. So I'm going to drop out Trader Joe's and I'm going to put in Crate and Barrel. Interestingly, keeping on that Mexican cuisine as like a broad base and layering in Crate and Barrel, Patron Tequila is still coming up, IKEA's still there, Nordstrom, H&M. Amazon Fashion is coming up a lot too, interestingly. Chipotle. Budweiser showing up again there in terms of a brewery or beer. And as I come down, that brand, that page there of children's clothing is coming up. And interestingly, the affinity score has changed as well. So I can definitely get a sense for the type of audiences that I can create and target here with my competition. So let's have a look at Sur La Table. Again, that's So Mexican Entertainment websites come up. Now, if we open this up and look at this page, substantial following, very good engagement on the post, very highly engaged posts if you look at this, which is unusual for Facebook page content that hasn't got advertising behind it. But all of the content is in Spanish. That said, it might be worth testing because it's still shown up as an interest when we've set the language to English. So we'd very quickly understand whether this was going to convert or not. And within our advertising, we can layer on English as a targeting setting. so that only English-speaking followers of this page would pick that up. But if someone was particularly interested in Mexican culture and Mexican cuisine, you'll probably find that they like this page as it's shown up a few times within the Audience Insights tool. Now let's take a look at Chipotle. Patron again has moved to the top, Budweiser's moved up there, IKEA. So Mexican cuisine, Chipotle, 25 to 45, both men and women in the United States who speak English. And you can see the similar results are starting to come up in these page interests. And the affinity score, obviously for Chipotle is high, Patron Tequila's high. There's that brand again, and it's dropped to 35, but still very high. So now we have a good idea of the types of brands, supermarkets, different pages and interests that our customers are engaging with on Facebook that are interested in the area that we're serving. In this instance, my brand is releasing a taco holder, so Mexican cuisine is definitely an interest that my customer would need to be interested in if to want to purchase my product or receive it at a heavy discount. We're getting a really clear idea of the types of audiences that we can target with a competition for our ultimate taco set. Now, the reality is the more time and more effort you put into your research at this stage, the better the results of your Facebook advertising, because the key to advertising is getting the right message in front of the right person at the right time. And to get it in front of the right person, you need to target them based on the brands and interests they have, as you don't yet have your own customer data. In other markets that are more specific, or if you're maybe modeling your brand on a well-known brand, then you can simply target that brand's audience. So if we were targeting cycling, for instance, I know that Wiggle.com is a very popular cycling store in the USA. So I might target Wiggle and have a look at the interests around Wiggle. And as you can see, look at the affinity scores on some of these interests like Focus Bikes, My Bike Shop, into the thousands, to say that someone who follows Focus Bikes is 7,000 times more likely to engage with you with content similar to Wiggle than the average Facebook user. However, in all cases, the faster you test audiences and learn from the results and then optimize your advertising, the faster you're going to get results and build a subscriber list for launch. So now I've completed my initial audience research, I'm going to go over into the Facebook Advertising Manager and create my advert to put my competition ad in front of my target customer. Go to business.facebook.com, load up my target business manager, go to menu, ads manager, accept any terms and conditions. And from here, we want to create our first ad. We're going to select Quick Creation. So we want to create a new campaign, and we're going to call the campaign name Subscriber Competition. The buying type is auction, and the campaign objective is messages. When starting out, depending on your budget, you'll want to set your daily budget from anywhere to $5 to $10. In this instance, it's pounds sterling because I'm based in the UK. And then once we get more confident in our results, we can increase that budget to increase the volume of subscribers that we're generating. But for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to start with £5 a day. And I'm going to create my first ad set. So my first ad set is going to be named around the audience that I'm targeting. So I'm targeting 25 to 45. And for my first audience, I'm going to use Patron, as that showed up a lot of times high in the results when doing my audience research. My ad name will be Copy 1, Image 1, as right now I only have one version of my advertising description, and I have only one version of my advertising image. As we move into optimizing our advertising campaign, we will definitely want to test different images and different descriptions to see which one engages our audience the most. So to create an internal naming reference, we're going to call it Copy 1, Image 1, and click Save to Draft. Facebook will then set up that campaign, and you'll see it doing it in the background, and then open the campaign editor. From here, you have three different levels. So we have the campaign, we have the ad set, which is where we set our audiences, and we have our advert. So for my campaign, I'm happy with the name. We've already set the objective as messages, and we've set our daily budget as £5 or $5. I'm then going to click down into my ad set, and this is where I'm going to configure the specifics of who I want to target. You're going to leave it as click to messenger, And as we change the settings here, you will see the audience size change. There is no hard rule of this, but my advice starting out is to keep it between 500,000 and a million. You can move over a million if you can't get the audience size down. However, the bigger the audience, the more broad you're targeting, and the longer it's going to take for Facebook's algorithm to find people that are interested in your competition and your offer. The smaller the audience, the faster the algorithm's going to work, and the quicker you're going to get data to be able to optimize and make decisions on whether that audience is working or not. So 500,000 to a million is a good audience size that I've found to work very quickly for what we need in terms of building an audience for launch. Leave the start date as right now. And then we're going to come down. We're going to leave custom audiences because we don't have any yet. And we're going to set the location to our target location. So for me, that's United States. As you progress in your advertising, you may find that the majority of your subscribers are coming from California, or maybe they're coming from Texas. And you may decide that you only want to target 2 or 3 states within the United States to focus your advertising budget where it's going to have the highest impact. But starting out, we're going to start with the whole of the United States. I'm going to set my age range to 25 to 45, as I've already decided. And I'm going to leave it as both men and women. And I'm going to set my language to English to ensure that I'm getting in front of English-speaking people. From here, this is where I start building out my targeting demographic and interests, as we just did inside of the Audience Insights tool. So in this instance, because my product is quite generic, quite broad, the first target I'm going to layer on, and I'm going to put this into every ad set, is Mexican cuisine. I'm then going to layer on one of my other interests. And the idea here is that we create one ad set for each of the audiences that we're targeting. That allows us to very specifically understand if that audience is working for us or not, and turn it off if it's not. And select Patron Tequila. So right now you can see that Facebook's telling me that in the United States, between 25 and 45, both men and women who speak English, who like Mexican cuisine and are interested in Patron Tequila, is currently at 20 million people. That's a very large audience, and it will spend a lot of your advertising budget to figure out who within that audience are interested in your advert. So we want to bring that down a bit. So if I select narrow audience, there are a couple of different audience targeting options that we can select that will bring that down and find people that are more likely to engage with our offer. The first is one called engaged shoppers, who are interested in Patron Tequila, like Mexican cuisine, and have clicked a Shop Now button on Facebook in the last 7 days. And if we have a look at our audience size, you'll see that's reduced that from 20 million to just over 5 million. So still quite a large audience. The next thing we can do is say, well, of all of those people, I want to narrow further. And I can now tell Facebook, of those people, those 5 million people, I only want people that have shown interest in Amazon.com as an interest. That increases the likelihood that when it comes to offering my subscriber list my products on Amazon, that they're already shopping there and they're much more familiar with using coupon codes and buying products on Amazon. So if I search Amazon.com and I'm looking for interests, not employers, so interests, and layer that on top, you'll see that's now brought that down to 4 million people. So in this instance, I haven't quite been able to get it down to around the million mark, and it is quite a large audience. I could look through the other demographics. I knew that my relationship status on my audience was about half of my audience, so I may consider targeting married as a relationship status. And you'll see that hasn't really impacted it, which tells you a lot of the audience are married. So in this instance, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to leave it at an audience size of 4 million. It's a bit larger than I wanted, but I'm going to test it for a day or two and see whether I get any traction there. So up here, I'm going to put for 25 to 45 Patron, engaged, shoppers, Amazon. And that just gives me an internal reference of exactly who I'm targeting with this ad set. When it comes to placements, we want to edit the placement, otherwise Facebook will place it everywhere, not just on Facebook, it will go onto Instagram, and it will go into their partner network where you'll see it on other websites. We want to focus our advertising budget just on Facebook and just into the newsfeed. So we're going to turn off Instagram, as we can't be confident that an Instagram user is comfortable coming over into Messenger. And we also want to go ahead and turn off the Facebook Marketplace, Stories, and Messenger Stories. So for this targeting, you'll see that by doing that, it's reduced my audience size down to 2.9 million. So definitely getting down towards that smaller audience size. In terms of devices, I'm going to leave mobile and desktop. Now, in some instances, if this audience is too large, I know that 80% of my audience will come from the mobile device. The majority of people are using smartphone, and if you look at your Audience Insights tool, activity, you will see that 73% of this audience who like Mexican cuisine are using mobile only for Facebook, and 27% are using desktop and mobile. So my assumption at 80% was pretty close. So if I wanted to narrow this further, I would only target people using their mobile. And what that should do is reduce that down a little bit. But as you can see, because the majority of the audience are using mobile anyway, it hasn't really impacted that number. So I'm going to leave both enabled, and moving forward, I'll keep an eye on the device that people are opting in through, and I probably find that I will just target mobile with my advertising. We're going to leave it to optimize for replies. Next thing we're going to do is click down onto the advert level. So don't worry, Google Chrome, the browser you're using, will automatically save all of your settings until we click publish, when it will upload it to the Facebook advertising engine. So now we're configuring the actual advert itself. We're going to keep the name copy one, image one. We're advertising from our Verve Kitchen page. Where it says Instagram, just leave it as use selected page. We're going to use a single image or video, and at this point we need to add our image. So we're going to click add media, add image, and I'm going to click upload. And I'm going to find my competition image that I created earlier on. Click continue. And you'll see I created my image to 1000 by 1000 pixels, as Facebook is definitely prioritizing square images over horizontal. My primary text is going to be my description and my headline. And I'm going to leave the description blank. Facebook made a recent update where they won't be displaying the description unless they believe the user is highly engaged with the advert. The call to action we're going to use is learn more, as that's the instruction that we've given the subscriber in the advert, and we found learn more to be the most effective call to action for the advert. On the right hand side, now that we've started populating the image, the description, and the headline and the call to action, you'll start getting a preview of how the advert will look in the user's Facebook newsfeed. I'm pretty happy with that. I use the hashtag to make that stand out, as it turns it blue like a link. You can see my emojis. My word win is really prominent and standing out, and my little fire emoji with the word win, the ultimate taco set, catches the eye as a hook, and my learn more call to action. Coming down, leave the tracking settings as they are, and the final and most important step is creating a message that connects to ManyChat, so that when people click that learn more button, it triggers that flow that we created within ManyChat to welcome them and ask them if they want to enter the competition. So we're going to go ahead and click create new, and we're going to click edit. From here, we want to set customer actions to quick replies, and the quick reply we want to enter is enter competition. This interface within the Facebook Ad Manager can be a bit slow and it can be a bit buggy, so just bear with it and it will catch up. So enter competition. I'm going to save this template as a subscriber competition for future use, and I want to edit the welcome message that shows in the Facebook Messenger interface, prompting that user to click that enter competition quick reply. So welcome to Verve Kitchen. You're one step away from joining this month's competition. Click enter competition to join, and then down finger pointing at the quick reply enter competition. Now, working with this greeting text can be quite frustrating. As I say, the interface can be quite delayed and it does have a few bugs, but bear with it and get it into the position you need it to be. So we're going to click save and finish, and then click publish. Facebook's now going to upload that advert, that ad set, and the campaign live to Facebook for review. Currently, you'll see it's in draft, and you can see the uploading icon happening there. Within a few minutes, that will change to in review. It can take Facebook anywhere from 24 to 48 hours to approve this advert. Especially with a new advertising account, they're definitely a lot more critical about the adverts that you're publishing, but you will find as you move forward, your adverts get approved faster and faster. All adverts are manually approved at Facebook, and it's just part of the game. So you want to ensure that you plan ahead and turn your advertising on a good couple of days before you actually need it live to allow for that approval process. Now I've set that advert up, there is an important step I need to take within my ManyChat account to ensure that when a new subscriber clicks enter competition, that ManyChat picks that up and triggers our competition flow. So to do that, I'm going to come into my ManyChat dashboard for my brand, and I'm going to go to automation and keywords. From here, I'm going to click new keyword, and the keyword needs to match exactly what the quick reply was set within the advert. So it was enter competition with a capital E and a capital C. It is case sensitive. So we'll click create keyword, and then I want to select an existing flow, and that flow is going to be my competition, confirmed. So when they click enter competition, it then triggers this flow within Facebook Messenger that says, congratulations, Dan, you're in. So we're going to select that flow, make sure it's enabled. You can also come down to where your Messenger setup is, and you can click preview in Messenger. And what that's going to do is send you a message within Facebook Messenger like this. And this is a live preview of exactly what your potential subscribers will receive when they click on your advert to enter your competition. So welcome to Verve Kitchen. You're one step away from joining this month's competition. Click enter competition to join. So I'm going to click enter competition. And as you can see, ManyChat has picked up that keyword and has triggered our competition welcome flow that says, congratulations, you're in. We can't wait to give away this epic taco set to make Taco Tuesday the best ever. The draw is at the end of the month. We will message you then and let you know if you're a winner or not. So now that I've done that and connected ManyChat, and we've tested that the connection is working through the keyword, I want to build out multiple different audiences to test very quickly and see which audiences are going to work for my competition to build a subscriber list for our brand. I advise starting with anywhere from 10 to 20 audiences to start. Keep the budgets low, as the budgets will quickly add up, and optimize quickly. At this point, you will be wanting to look at the data daily to understand which ones are working and which ones are not. You can see that Facebook is still publishing my advert, and you can see that my delivery is now set to in review. As I said, this can take anywhere from 24 to 48 hours to be approved. If I click back to my campaign level and look at my subscriber competition, I can then click into that to see my different ad sets, and you'll see that Facebook Ad Manager automatically moves me from campaigns to ad sets. The fastest way to build out new audiences would be to go to my ad set level, click duplicate, and then decide on how I want to set up the new ad set. So I'm going to select existing campaign, and I'm going to put it inside of my subscriber competition, and I want to create one copy. So I'm going to click duplicate. From here, you can now see that I have a copy of my original ad set, and it's also copied the advert underneath. This makes it a lot faster because as we build out new audiences to target, we just use the same advert for each one of them. So the next one I want to target in my audience targeting is Chipotle. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that interest, come back to my advertising, and then I'm going to rename the ad set to say that I'm targeting Chipotle Mexican Grill. So I just put it as Chipotle, come down, leave it as the United States. I'm going to leave it as 25 to 45, both men and women who speak English. And at this point, I'm going to remove the Patron Tequila interest. And I'm also going to remove Mexican cuisine in this instance because Chipotle is Mexican. So I'm going to go ahead and put Chipotle in as my first interest. And as you can see, that's reduced the audience down to 2 million people. I've kept engaged shoppers and I've kept Amazon.com. So still quite a large audience, but definitely happy to test this based on the fact that I know that people buying food from Chipotle are highly likely to engage with my brand and my product. So coming down, I'm going to keep my placements as just being Facebook and Messenger on both devices. Keep it as replies. And from here, I'm going to click publish. Facebook has then just uploaded that ad set to the Facebook advertising engine under the campaign subscriber competition. And now you will see under my campaign subscriber competition, I now have 2 ad sets in review. So I want you to go ahead and build 10 to 20 different audiences, keeping them very relevant and narrowing that audience as much as possible. So we have the best chance of getting in front of the right audience that have the right motivation towards wanting our product in the future. So to give you an idea of what this looks like once you've built out a number of ad sets and you've let them run for a couple of days and collected data, you can see for this brand that I built here, I was targeting men between the age of 30 and 45 in the US, and this audience was GQ, this audience was Dollar Shave Club, this audience was Joe Rogan. And you can see I had confidence in my targeting, so I moved my budgets up to more like $20 a day. Now, interestingly, we were collecting leads under $1. And it's only in the last week that I've seen the cost per lead or the cost per result increasing above that price point. You'll notice that I turned off other audiences that had increased in cost. And generally, when you see the cost increasing, it means that you're starting to reach the edge of that audience and you need to expand the audience size further. So maybe remove some of that targeting that you layered in, such as Engaged Shoppers or Amazon.com, or you need to build out new audiences. As we start out in the brand, we're targeting anywhere between a $1 and $2 lead cost, but some markets will be more expensive depending on the competition in that market and depending how broad that customer base is. As I've said all along, the more focused your brand, the clearer idea you have of your target customer, makes Facebook advertising and marketing in general a lot easier, as you can be very targeted with your approach, which is a lot more efficient with your budget. So your aim from here is to keep an eye on your cost per result, remove audiences that just aren't working, and you'll know that they're not working if they're starting to collect leads at an expensive cost. Put more budget into those that are working. So I started at $5 with this audience, and because it was working, it was collecting leads below $1. I increased it to $10, then I doubled it down to $20. And as you can see, as I'm now starting to spend more aggressively and I'm reaching the outer edge of this audience, you can see the cost per result has moved up a little bit, but I can see that it's starting to settle between $2 and $3 a result, which for this brand I'm happy with. You can see that this brand only started 10 days ago, so it's currently November 14th. You can see the up ramp started on the 3rd, so about 10 days ago. And you can see in that 10-day period, I've been able to achieve 900 subscribers. When starting out, you want to be very conscious with your budget. Try and achieve audiences where you can acquire subscribers under $1 in cost. And if you see that dollar cost increasing, then expand your audiences. You only need a few hundred subscribers to be effective with your product launch on Amazon. With the launch strategy we're going to be teaching you later in the program, the paid advertising strategy on Amazon, combined with a good listing, will get you most of the way. You're going to rely on your subscriber list to supplement that launch and give you that extra velocity should you need it. So a few hundred subscribers is more than enough. So set a budget of what you can afford to invest in Facebook advertising to build a subscriber list, and then optimize your campaigns towards that budget. So in this lesson we covered setting up a new business manager and Facebook advertising account, researching your target audience for your Facebook competition advert, building your campaign inside of Facebook Ads Manager, and connecting ManyChat to trigger the competition flow when you get a new competition subscriber. In the next lesson, we're going to talk through getting more reviews on autopilot with ManyChat. But right now, I want you to go ahead and set up your Facebook advertising account, research your target customer audiences, and set up your Facebook advertising campaign for your competition. I'll see you in the next lesson.